right, here we are with paragraph 3 of chapter 1. This is the discussion video, and we have 8 vocabulary words that I have selected from this paragraph. Those words are oblong, dulled, to sink, to dim, frail, meager, sanguine, and blunt. So let's get started and talk about the word oblong. Paragraph 3 starts like this. Inside the flat, a fruity voice was reading out a list of figures which had something to do with the production of pig iron. The voice came from an oblong metal plaque, like a dulled mirror. So let's talk about the word oblong. Oblong is a shape where two of the sides are longer than the other two sides. So when I read this, when I see this, the voice came from an oblong metal plaque, like a dulled mirror. I kind of picture like a rectangle, but maybe it was an oval. Anyway, we know that at least two sides were longer than the other two sides, and probably it was this way and not this way. It goes on to say the voice came from an oblong metal plaque like a dulled mirror, which formed part of the surface of the right-hand wall. The word dull, if you know the word sharp, it's the opposite of the word sharp. If you look at the picture behind me, the flower in the front of the picture is very clear. The edges are sharp. But the flowers in the background, the edges are not sharp. They're the opposite. They're dull. Also, you could call that blurry. So dull and blurry can sometimes mean the same thing. Also, dull is a very common word for boring. Also, sometimes it's used to mean stupid. The next word we have is sink. The text says that Winston turned a switch and the voice sank somewhat, though the words were still distinguishable. Sink is a word which means to go down, especially in water. So if you think about a ship like the Titanic, it sinks. It goes down. So when Winston turned the volume down, the voice did go down a little bit. First in the text it says that when Winston turns a switch, the voice sinks down somewhat. It goes down a little bit, because remember, sink means go down. And that's talking about the sound. The voice sank somewhat. But also, Winston wants to, maybe he wants to turn off the telescreen. But he can't do that because what it says is, where is it? The instrument, the telescreen, could be dimmed, but there was no way of shutting it off. And dim means very little light, not very much light, a small amount of light. Next we have the word frail. Orwell refers to Winston as a smallish, frail figure. The word frail is very similar to the word weak. I guess the difference is maybe frail could also mean easily broken, easy to damage. So a good way to remember the word frail is to think of the word fragile. They probably come from the same word. Frail means weak, easy to break, easy to damage. The next word we have is meager, and meager is an interesting word because what it means is that you were expecting more and you didn't get enough. You didn't get as much as you were expecting. But actually here, what meager means is skinny, like maybe in an unhealthy way. Maybe like you were expecting more of that person, and they don't eat very much, so they look meager. And so it's a negative word. It's not a positive word, I think, with skinny. So he says that Winston was a smallish, frail figure, the meagerness of his body merely emphasized by the blue overalls. Finally, we have two more words. We have sanguine and blunt. Okay. Now sanguine is not a very common word. It's not an everyday word, and what it means is to be happy even during difficult times, to show happiness even during difficult times. But this is not a word that people use every day. It's probably a word you want to use when you want to impress somebody on an English test or something like that. But it means to be happy even during difficult times. And it says his hair was very fair, his face was naturally sanguine. So when you look at his face, it always shows happiness, even when you know things are very difficult. And then we have the word blunt. Do you remember earlier in this video we talked about the opposite of sharp? Can you remember what that word is? Dull. Dull. Blunt is also the opposite of sharp. And we can see that here in the text because it says his face unnaturally sanguine. His face always looks good, always looks happy, even when he's in a difficult moment. His skin roughened by coarse soap and a blunt razor. That means a razor that is not sharp. Okay? Blunt can also mean, just like dull can mean boring, blunt can mean being very honest. If you know the word frank, being very frank. Well, we've learned a lot of new vocabulary words in paragraph 3. And as usual, now is a really good time to go back and listen to the reading of paragraph 3 again. Maybe listen to it several times. Try to hear these words. Try to hear them in the context. Try to refresh your memory about what those mean, not by me telling you, but by what is being read in the paragraph, okay? And again, if you enjoyed this video, if you found this useful, please hit the like button. And if you want more of these videos, let me know by subscribing. And I will see you again in Chapter 1, Paragraph 4.